The bench chisel, a fundamental hand tool in woodworking. Flat back, straight edge, one bevel, and highly sensitive to sharpening accuracy. Sebastian, our sharpening expert, is here today to show us how to sharpen it to scary sharpness. Hi, Sebastian.
Hi, Hugo. Hopefully we will be scary sharp.
Yes.
So here we have a regular bench chisel, and to sharpen that I want to use the SE77 square edge jig. And the easiest way, I think we will start by setting it up. You just place it in the jig, and then you make sure it's all the way into the stop there. And that way you will have it perfectly 90 degrees. I lock that knob. Then you have a second knob that you can take as close as possible to the chisel, and that way you will avoid a slope here. If you have the old SE76, you couldn't move that, and then sometimes people had a slope here which messed with the 90 degrees to make it perfectly square.
Right.
But here we have a solution that is bulletproof.
Great.
Once I set it up, also you have two small protection stops to avoid falling off the stone.
Yep.
One that you put here, and the other one that you put here. It's very popular in schools, especially. So here, because when I sharpen afterwards, I would put pressure here, and if I wouldn't have these stops, I risk falling off, and then I can sharpen my finger on the board. It's not dangerous. The machine is slowly turning, but it hurts like hell. So I recommend you using the stops. So we have set it up in the jig.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that it's 90 degrees. To double check that, we can go on the inside of the stone, push it against the stone, and here we will see I have 90 degrees. If I feel I don't have the 90 degrees perfectly, I have a micro adjustment here with these two small knobs, which I can fine tune it if I'm not perfectly satisfied with the 90 degrees.
Yep.
You can also, if you want, another way to double check it is if you have a small square.
Like the SQ90 Tormek square?
Yes, for example, or another square. No, I recommend SQ90. Then you draw a line, and you can double check that you have the 90 degrees. It's important that your line is straight.
Right.
Great. And then we come to the angle setting.
Yes, we have set up the tool in the jig, and the jig 90 degrees, so now it's time to set up the angle.
Yes.
What angle would typically be recommended on a bench chisel for?
I would say the most common bench chisel is 25 degrees. Sometimes there are 30 degrees. It depends a bit on what type of wood you're going to work in. If you work in hardwood, you want a bit of a bigger angle because it will last longer. If you cut in softer wood, you would like a smaller angle because it will cut better. But 25 degrees, most chisels are factory sharpened at 25 degrees. So if I want to set it up with the Angle Master, the WM200, first thing I have to do is to set the diameter of the stone. On the T8 is 250, on the T4 is 200, and then the stone will will shrink with the more of usage, but here you have a scale, so you can see whatever the stone is. Here we have a brand new stone, so it's at 250. And then I set the angle. So you take the bigger numbers here, because that is when I sharpen on the stone. The smaller numbers above is if you sharpen on the side of the stone, which we are not doing today. What could be said, I could have said that perhaps in the beginning, I'm sharpening on a Tormek T8 original.
Right.
It works exactly the same way. If you have a Tormek T4 original, everything is the same method and same.
And you can sharpen basically any edge tool on it with different jigs that we have.
Yes. Great. So here I have my 25 degrees. I place it towards the back of the chisel, and it's important that a part of the plastic has contact with the stone and the rest on the back, and you want no light to shine through.
Yeah.
And
A common mistake we see is that you put it on top, too high.
Yeah, so you always have contact. You need to reference point. And here you see I'm a bit too high, so I need to lower the whole thing to get to my 25 degrees. And I want no light shining through. So here I would be at 25 degrees, and off I would go sharpening.
Yeah, looks good.
So this is one way. If
Yep.
you know that you want 25 degrees or 30 degrees, you set the angle you want and you sharpen like that.
Right.
The other method you have is a marker method, which I personally like, because then you repeat the existing angle on the chisel. The advantage with this is that the manufacturer probably has an idea with the angle is set on the chisel from the beginning, but also that you remove a minimum quantity of material, which makes the chisel last longer, but it's also faster to sharpen.
Right.
So if I want to do the marker method, I just color the entire bevel with the marker. And for those who
Now we'll see how accurate you have been with your angle setting.
If it was 25 degrees.
Yeah.
Try to save myself. And then I just pull the stone, or I can pull it back and forth. And you see, I was a bit too high, so I need to lower it a bit more. No.
Too much.
Way too much.
You can hear it from the sound.
There we are. So there I take all along the entire bevel.
Yeah.
And so now I'm set up. And then when I lock the universal support, I want to have one finger above the micro adjustment to make sure I'm perfectly square.
Press down there. Yeah.
And then I lock the second. And here I'm perfectly square. And then I have the stops to make sure I don't fall off. And now the stone was quite fine from the beginning.
Yeah.
You can change the grit of the stone between 220 and 1000 grit. Now it's quite fine, so towards 1000 grits. So if I want to finish a nice finish, I would use it like this. But if now this is not very badly damaged, but if it would have been badly damaged and I want to repair it and remove more steel, then I can use a stone grader, the SP650, to make it more aggressive and remove more material.
The coarse side.
Yes, so the coarse side makes it coarser, the fine side makes it finer. So I would take the coarse side, I would use the edge of the coarse side and put some pressure to make it more aggressive. You can use it either this way or this way, as you prefer, but I recommend using the corner because it's more efficient that way.
Yeah, and also it can glaze over if you use on the flat side.
Yes, after a while it can glaze over. So here I'm satisfied. And I start sharpening, and then I put pressure as close to the bevel as possible because I have better control over here instead of pressing or just holding the handle. And then I go back and forth across the stone. And I can put quite a lot of pressure here if I want to remove a lot of material. We'll remove this. And see how far we have gotten. And you see I've sharpened pretty much the whole thing. I can feel here on the back side as well that I have gotten some burr. I don't know if it shows, which means that I have burr all along the bevel and then I'm done sharpening.
Right.
Now I made the stone quite coarse, and depending on the usage of my what I want to do with my chisel, if I want to do some fine woodworking, I would like it even finer perhaps. Then I would use the fine side on the stone grader. And here I don't use it on the corner, I use it flat. And I make the stone as smooth as possible to get a finer finish.
Right.
And then when I sharpen as well, I put less pressure on the chisel. So if I want to remove a lot of material, I make it coarse, I put a lot of pressure. If I want to have a fine finish, I make it as fine as possible and as little pressure as possible when I sharpen. And here I think you can almost hear that it difference in sound between when I had it coarser and with more pressure.
Hear any scratching noises or.
And I use the entire stone to not make it uneven. To wear it evenly. Let's take it off. Okay, there. I'm quite satisfied. I feel burr all along.
What about the back side? Do you sharpen the mirror side at all, or?
No, that's a good point. So this is called the mirror side on the chisel. In this case, you see it's very fine, so I don't need to do anything. But sometimes if people are mean towards the chisels. I've seen people
corrosion
or paint or damages when they use it. And you want this fine side to be as fine as possible, as it's called the mirror side, because that is what's actually cutting into the wood. So if you have a badly damaged here, you need to repair it and have it as polished as possible.
Yeah.
And
so even if there's no sharpening bevel on that side, it defines the edge.
The sharpness, yes.
Yeah.
So the more polished this is, the finer this is, the better cutting tool you will have. So if you have a badly damage, I recommend it to put it flat on the side of the stone and try to sharpen it.
Okay. That works. But notice though that the grinding wheels that are stone,
yes,
they will wear.
Yes, they will wear. So if it's unevenly wear, you have an issue.
Yeah.
So if you have a lot of chisels, you need to flatten, then perhaps the diamond wheel is better.
Yeah.
Because that's a uniform surface and that will remain the same all the time.
You have the extra fine one, which is quite fine also. So.
Yeah. And it's also important to have to be careful with the entire backside, because here in 5 years' time, this will be my cutting edge. The shorter the chisels become. So the finer I can keep this and the more polished I can keep this, the better chisel I will have.
Take care of your tools.
Yes, that's a good... and buy quality tools is also a good...
Now sharpening is done.
Yes.
Okay, what's the next step?
So I have burr, as I said, I created burr all along, and you will have to remove the burr because I've done basic sharpening, but if I don't remove the burr, I would have looked in a microscope, it would be like small teeth all along the bevel, and it wouldn't cut. So the honing is really key to get the sharpness you desire, and that's where the magic happens, I sometimes say.
Let's see.
So when I want to hone it, I turn the machine around. I can't hone towards the leather honing wheel because then I will cut into the leather. You can hone the front side on the
with the jig.
With the jig as well. I don't feel that necessary, but because you will have to remove it eventually to get the back side as well. I take my polishing paste. I take what's like a pea or what's in the top of the jar. I spread it evenly all along the honing wheel.
A lot of people we see use a bit excessive honing compound.
Yes, which is good in a way because we sell more, but you need to create friction when you remove burr. And if you have too much honing paste, you won't create any friction and the burr won't release. So.
And you will get a mess and you will waste honing compound.
Yes. So the burr, we have sharpened, the burr is lying here on the back side, and I recommend to start honing on the same side where we stopped sharpening, because that way you remove the burr more gently.
Right.
You don't want to rip it off, you want to massage it off carefully. So there are different techniques, but I put it flat here, and then I pull it towards me until I both see, hear and feel that I am on the bevel. And you also see some it's polishing paste, but also some of the burr coming up here. Then I put it flat on the mirror side. I pull it towards me until I see burr and honing compound and perhaps some dried. And then I do this back and forth until I feel that I think that all the burr is removed.
Yeah, and this also polishes the bevel.
Yes.
So it's deburring and polishing.
And I dry off the excessive paste. And then a very good way to feel if you have any burr left is to pull it along your nail. You have so many nerves in your fingers, so you feel if there is any burr left. And I feel that I have some burr left, so I want to go over again.
Please though, be careful when doing that. You don't put any pressure, you just drag your nail
yes, so you
very
don't hurt
lightly
yourself.
Across. We do provide adhesive bandages with the machine, but we don't want you to use them.
A good tip also can be that between the sharpenings, if you haven't damaged your tool, you can go honing just to refresh it.
Right.
So if you cut in some wood and you haven't got a nick in it, you can, if you want just to freshen up the bevel, you can go on the honing wheel.
Realigning the edge or just polish a bit if you have sap on it. Feel good?
It's getting better. It's way better. I would perhaps run it by a little more way, but you see I have a very fine polished bevel, a uniform bevel, and hopefully
it will cut.
It cuts. It looks great, it cuts paper. If I would be really meticulous and do really fine woodworking, I would go over the honing wheel a second more perhaps. I often say that I preach honing, but honing is really key in all sharpening to get that razor sharpness. And not only does it make the tool more sharper, it also makes the tool last longer, because if you have a perfectly uniform bevel, it's more solid and it will last longer as well. You don't need to sharpen as often.
That's a good point.
Do I have anything I have missed? Yes, like I have some basic
tips and tricks, maybe.
Yes. So, for example, when you heighten and lower the water trough, you can push in the button and then lower it. Otherwise, it will be jumping a little. So, if you push it in and lower it, you're more gentle towards the water trough.
Yep.
And when you want to release the water trough, the recommendation is to push it upwards and then pull it out. Not just pull it out straight away.
Yeah, just raise it a little bit and pull it out.
Yeah, so you don't damage the forks here on the lift. Have I missed any of our tips and tricks, Hugo?
I think you mentioned during sharpening, but pressing down on the universal support on the micro adjust, right?
Yeah, so when you lock it, always make sure to press above the micro adjustment so you're perfectly square, and then you lock first knob, then you lock second knob.
Then I am satisfied. My sheet looks like we have gone through everything here.
Yes.
Nothing else from your part?
No, but setting up the chisel is key. If you set everything up correctly, you find the 90 degrees, you double check, you find the right angle. It is super quick to sharpen, but take your time when you set it up. I often say that once you set it up, you can have a 5-year-old doing the actual sharpening, and it will become super sharp. But take your time when you set it up.
A few extra seconds to set it up correctly will save you minutes on the sharpening.
Exactly.
Great, thank you. I think we're done with this. We have a bunch of other videos sharpening basically any tool you can imagine on our channel, so go check them out. The products we have used for sharpening this chisel today will be linked below in the description with links to our webpage tormek.com. We would like for you to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. You'll get notified if you hit the bell whenever we release more knowledge videos. Comment if there's anything we've missed or if you have any questions down below. We read through every comment and try to answer as best we can.
Yes.
And I think that's it for today. Thank you, Sebastian.
Thank you, Hugo. Good luck with your sharpening, and hopefully you get scary sharp chisels back home.
Stay sharp.
Bye-bye.